Hey y'all, I'm Jay.
And I'm Brooke.
We are Smoking F Barbecue and Feedlot.
Every day we get asked all kinds of questions about all kinds of things.
But the number one question we get is, what does the F stand for?
Nope, it's not that F word, y'all.
Here we'll answer all of your questions about anything and everything as it relates to our lives and our Fs. Faith, family, farm, freedom, and of course food.
Don't forget Frankovich. If you have a question you'd like answered, shoot us a PM or an email. Each week we'll select one question to tackle and then answer it as authentically as we can.
Wait, are we live?
Let's get this thing started. Love y'all.
Thank y'all for being the best part of what we do. Hey everybody, Brooke and Jay here, Smoking F with the F Words Podcast. Marriage edition.
Marriage edition. So last week we struggled. I don't think I even officially posted the podcast last week because we just kind of struggled through getting it to be like more formal and this, it's different than what we're used to doing. But this week I think we're gonna kind of, I was gonna say marry the two. Get it? We're gonna kind of bring it back down to like sort of what we're used to, but step it up a notch. So what we're gonna do this week is rather than like us like talking ahead of time about a topic and coming up with some points and all that business, I just sprang on Jay today what we were going to talk about, and so we're going to get some real honest raw response rather than like a polished, we're not ever real polished, but more polished version of us. So one of the questions that we get asked a lot is how Jay and I spend so many hours together and still get along.
And the answer is
we don't.
We don't.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's true. Arguing is healthy in the right manner.
When it's productive.
Yeah. You had to learn how to fight fair.
Yeah, I don't want y'all to think that we don't fight, because we fight plenty. And we both are, if you don't know us well, we're both pretty passionate people.
The word is stubborn. Yeah. It's all me.
Yeah. So, in fact, there's a joke on the food truck. Sometimes we'll get on, and I think our number one time to fight is early in the morning, because that's about the only time that Jay and I are actually alone, right? Don't you think? Because we have 4 kids, and then we have our team with us all the time when we're working, and so we both come up here, between 5:30 and 6, and some days you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and so we'll just like have it out, at that time in the morning, and then how you're still just a teensy bit like grouchy, and we'll get on the food truck, and Suzanne or Amanda or somebody on the team will text and be like, Mom and Dad are fighting.
That's right.
So they know. We think we're transparent, but we're not, obviously. So, okay, but what would you say is different between how we fight now and how we used to fight? Because we did it wrong for a whole lot of years.
I think before we really didn't understand each other a whole lot, and
that's true.
Maybe didn't acknowledge that we're more alike than we would like to admit.
That's true.
And so what that leads to is we're both very passionate, and we could go from like 0 to 110 real quick. So I think actually after the fire, pretty much I got an ultimatum. We're going to go to counseling. And probably
stress levels were like so tense.
Yeah, just
after that year.
Building a house. We got the trailer moved in here, and I thought, got a roof over their head. They're good. Now it's my job to go build a house. And
yeah, to Jay's credit, he was like in this like mega protector survival mode. Like, I have to get a roof over the head of my family. I have to get everything, and he did. We got a trailer house moved in here
13 days.
13 days after the fire. Start to finish. And then our house was built in less than a year. Really.
5.5 months.
5.5 months. So, but then I guess I thought like, okay, the house is done. we're going to go back to normal where we have dinners together and we, you know, and that didn't happen because Jay had never, I don't think ever really stopped to process the fire because he was so busy trying to take care of us. So I said, look, we're not going to keep doing this. We're not a family. We're going to counseling. No. And we did.
Honestly, most guys, you mentioned the C word, and we're like,
the C word.
Heck no. Pretty much the last person on earth that would have considered something like that. But the only thing that I love more is you and my family. So I was willing to do whatever it took. And really, long story short, with the counseling session, I think it only took about 5 or 6 sessions, a whole lot of tests.
Millions of
He
personality
literally
tests.
comes to us and is like, well, do you want to know what it is? I'm like, that's why we paying for this. And, I mean, I'd love to sit here and chat, but
you're expensive to chat with, okay?
Let's get down to business. And honestly, the big revelation was, you're the same. And he said every test, he's down to, he's like, the only difference between you two is when she gets mad, she cries, and when you get mad, you get angry. And
I'm a crier.
For sure.
I mean, I'm mad, I cry. I'm sad, I cry. I laugh, I cry. I'm a crier.
Yep. So with that, the next
we won't
step.
talk about what he is.
Yeah, the next step with that was like, oh, so if we're the same in the way we feel and all those things.
For us, I think as soon as we had that clicked for us.
Yeah, it was
like night and day difference.
I looked at him, I was like, so when I feel that way, like that frustration, that she feels that way, and he's like, yep. I said, oh, okay.
Oh, she's not crazy.
I mean, a little.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
But that was really the big revelation. And so we actually left that session, and we were like laughing in the truck on the way home because, like, it's so, honestly, we overcomplicate relationships and everything else. They are complicated. However, we let things get in the way.
I think we were in the truck on the way home and we were talking about fights that we had, and we're like, so this is what you meant when you said that? Yeah, like it just all came together. It was just like a light bulb moment for us. So we are huge advocates for Christian counseling. We think it's just sometimes nice to have an unbiased third party, and it's not the same when you go to a friend and ask for that kind of advice. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have good, like-minded friends. I mean, and we should talk about friends too.
For sure.
Friends is a very important part of marriage. Who you choose to surround yourself, we've learned that as well. When you surround yourself with people that talk badly about their spouse all the time, who are always fighting, who don't want to be better. I mean, because everybody has issues. We all have issues. We all like to get around and, say like, you're not gonna believe what this Yahoo did this morning, but you know what I mean? It's not like a everyday, all the time, you dislike them and you don't want to be better.
Right, and
it bleeds through.
Yeah, if those are the people that you're surrounding yourself with, it bleeds through. As much as you can acknowledge it and say, hey, I get where they're at, I feel for them, I pray for them.
Yep.
It bleeds through, and it's not worth it. So.
So we're very, very particular about who we spend our time with now.
Yeah.
We really are.
Rising tide floats all boats.
That's true. So, and like I was saying, when you go and you talk to your friends about your spouse, you have to remember you're going to make up and forgive them, but your friend is always going to look at them a little bit different. So you have to be really careful,
For sure.
what you say about your spouse.
Yeah, how many times have people been, oh, we're breaking up, this and that, and they come and you're giving advice or helping them out, giving them your experiences, and then all of a sudden they get back together.
Or they're engaged.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa.
You're like, wait, last weekend, I'm so confused.
Yeah.
We just smile and move on.
Just not a good position to put yourself in.
No. No.
So let's get to this list of questions here.
Okay, well, it's not really questions. I wrote down some of what I thought was good marriage advice.
Which means that's exactly what we're going to do.
number one just happened. Just kidding. Actually, the first one that I wrote down was pretty much what you just said about how much alike we are. Somebody once said to us, opposites attract, but your likeness is what keeps you together. Like I think you have to have hobbies or something that you do together. Now we do an extreme amount of things together because we work together, we play together. I mean, we do everything together. I think pretty much. It feels weird when I'm not.
You don't want to go too far down that way.
Shh. It's not that kind of podcast. It's not that F word. I'm sorry, too far. Too far. Line crosser.
Fun.
Yes.
Fun.
We have fun.
All right.
Okay. My number one piece of advice, and we used to do weddings here a lot. And I would always tell our brides this, the ones that, I kind of talked to and had a connection with. People always say, don't go to bed mad. I disagree with that. I don't know exactly how you feel. I don't know if we've ever talked about it.
No, I think it depends on the situation, depends on the couple. For us, being the way that we are and recognizing the way we are, going from 0 to 100, going to bed mad's okay. We know we're going to see each other at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And when I get up, sometimes the thing that I was so mad about the night before, I'm like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. Like it's like my emotions come down and then I can see the real issue. And sometimes the real issue is not even worth being mad about anymore.
But even if it is, I think that leads to another point. So if it is or isn't necessary to be mad about, when you get up the next day, make time then to at least clear the air.
Sure, for sure.
Because building things up, it really doesn't work. And one part, she might be thinking, oh, that's not such a big deal. And I'm like, well, you chewed my head off last night. So
you deserved it.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Pretty much. I need to know that she thinks it's not that big of a deal. So communication.
And I'm sorry. I'm sorry is totally worth saying. Like, because sometimes even if you don't mean to hurt their feelings, I mean, I do it. He does it. We both just completely unintentionally sometimes. And saying I'm sorry can just diffuse the whole situation. I think. That's me. Okay, here's another thing I wrote down. There are some things that he is, like when we're in an argument, if it's something that he knows more about or is more, what's the word I'm looking for? Has more of an opinion about than I do, then I should let him have that. And he should do the same for me, I think. We each can voice like, hey, there's a lot of things he'll come to me. Like, okay, good example, brisket. Everybody loves Jay's brisket, and he is extremely particular about it. That's part of the reason it's so good. But when he is talking to me about this new brisket, brand or cut that he's going to try, and I feel like I don't have a say-so in that. I'll tell him my opinion, but at the end of the day, it's completely up to him because I know he knows better than I do in that arena.
I got that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's important.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think everybody needs to be a hero and a decision maker and feel kind of empowered sometimes. Okay, how do you feel about moving away from your family? Because we've done that.
It's tough, and that's a really tough one to address because every family dynamic is different too.
But are you glad that we did?
I am glad. I love our families, but I am glad that we did when we started, because had we not moved, and I mean moved, I was 20 hours away from mine. You were at least 6 hours, 6 hours away from yours. Had we not done that, I don't know that we would have made it. Because,
I don't think so either.
When those arguments happen, when things get heated, and preface that with, we've never argued like that, like domestic violence.
No, that's a whole nother situation.
It's a whole nother ball game.
That is not what we're talking about today. If you're in that kind of a situation,
there's resources
get out
for
and get
that.
help. Yeah, there's resources.
Yeah,
But
get out and get help.
we're not talking about that.
But it forced us to depend on each other and to start to figure each other out. And we didn't have anywhere to just run to. You know, if you can run a half mile down the house to Mama, then, and let's be honest, no matter what, Mama's always going to have your back.
My mama would.
Even if she knows you're wrong.
As if that would be an issue.
Exactly. So for us, it was hugely important.
No, it was. Our first 2 years were hard. Like we met in like a whirlwind. We actually met on eHarmony. That's a true story. And then we got married. Okay, so we met in March. We got married in August. Like we'd both been married before, so we both done it wrong before.
That's right.
We got married. I had Oliver, our oldest son at that time, and so I was a single mom. And he had been like Cowboy Casanova up in Northeast Texas, and so when our worlds combined, two totally different scenarios going on, and we just both expected, the other. That's what happened, literally on our wedding day. Yeah, remember with our horseshoe thing?
Oh yeah.
We had one piece of decoration for a week because me and Jay just got married, the two of us and two of our friends in front of a pond. We had one piece of decoration. The darn thing got struck by lightning 15 minutes before the ceremony and busted in half.
Horseshoe arch split in half.
Yep, that should have been a sign.
Yeah, I actually looked at the preacher and was like,
Should I still do this? Yeah, I'm glad we did. But yeah, that first 2 years, I mean, we fought and we fought hard. But I'm so thankful, like Jay said, that I couldn't run home or get out of it super easy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and we talk about our faith, that's one of the F's. Marriage is a covenant, same as the covenant we have with God. And really coming to terms with divorce is not an option, which both of us coming out of divorces,
yeah.
You're like, and once you've done it once, then it seems like it's an option on the table.
Right.
And it's really not. This time when we entered into it, I believe that both of our hearts were in the right place. We are so passionate. We really loved each other. But we had no idea how to coexist. So
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Like once we didn't quit, which I see was on the list there.
Don't quit.
Don't quit. And push through it, and got help.
Went to church.
I honestly went to church. I wish, and I'll say this now, had I been able to do this over again, and I'll tell all of my kids this, I don't like being mandated to do anything, let's be honest.
That's true.
I will strongly advise from the heart that all of my kids, whoever they decide to be with, that they spend the time. If you're going to make the commitment, if you're going to introduce yourself into that covenant, that you take it seriously, no matter what age you are, where you're at in life, and seek out some, marriage or pre-marriage counseling before you get into it, because the expectations, like I said, we overcomplicate it. The expectations that each other has.
They're unrealistic a lot of times.
And completely different. So an uninterested third party, not your families, not your friends, somebody that's willing to sit down with you and talk about what you can expect, at least it plants seeds. So that when those times come where you argue and disagree and whatever, or those times come where you're happy, or those times, all of the different, I don't want to dwell on the negative here. That you at least have a seed planted and go, hey, I remember him talking about that.
Somewhere back there.
Yep.
I think something else too, and I think you are really good about doing this, is that, and especially I think for guys, it's probably harder, which is why my kudos really are, I was gonna say off to you. That's not right. It's hats off to you. Is we don't keep secrets from each other. Unless I'm bringing home a new critter or something like that, then it might be a secret. But other than that, it is like, and Jay will talk, we both have, friends. All of our friends know each other. I mean, we know each other's friends and things like that, but he will tell them, like, if they're like, hey man, I really need to talk to you. And he'll say, it's perfectly fine, but I'm just going to let you know my wife's going to know about this. Like, and it's not like he has to tell me. It's not like I'm checking in, like, to make sure it's okay with you. It's like we just want to make sure we stay connected. And so I don't know. I really...
Well, no, and guys are different.
Yeah. I think girls kind of know. It's
pride,
just like...
Pride gets in our way a lot of the time. But just like standing up for Jesus, when the situation presents itself, when somebody tells you, I got to tell you a secret, I look at them dead in the face and say, you're telling me and my wife, because I'm going to tell her. I'm not going to keep things from her. I don't want her to... She definitely doesn't like... What do you say? I don't like to be the only person in the room that doesn't like to know.
Doesn't know something, yeah. I don't know. That's just a weird quirk of mine. I've always been that way. If everybody in the room knows something and I don't, I'm like, it makes me so aggravated. Yeah. Especially when it involves like me or us or my family
and so when I say it up front and no bones about it, they know. They can make a decision whether to tell me or not. But I don't know that I've ever had a situation where somebody said, okay, well, I'm not telling you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think that's too because we're friends. So I kind of feel like a lot of times us and them and their spouses will all sit down and we would all have the same conversation anyway. It's just the word secret it's kind of a loaded word, so you have to be careful with it. And especially we don't do secrets with opposite sex.
Yeah, that's
we don't do that.
Man, I learned that long ago, and she did as well. For us, it's a concrete rule. It's a concrete value of ours. We don't confide in people of the opposite sex. And that sounds like over the top, and people argue, oh no, one of my best friends is of the opposite sex. Yeah, it can be your best friend, but don't confide in them about problems that you're having in your home or things that you're dealing with.
It just creates an emotional bond with that person, and that's
plants a seed.
It's just not healthy. I think we don't. And like it's real easy, because we talk to so many people so much, and we have so many friends, and we want to like listen and be there for people and help. But what we'll do is, if somebody, just the other day there was a man telling me, and I just said, hey. And I just called Jay over here and I just said, hey, you come talk to us real quick. And then we had the exact same conversation, but Jay was there. And that makes, to me, the whole situation better, more comfortable. And I knew that person had no ill intent. There was no like, oh, I'm trying to. It's not like that. It's just, I think it's respectful of Jay.
Erring on the side of caution has never done us wrong in that department.
Yeah.
And
he's so dang good looking. All the ladies be trying to like.
I'm old.
Whatever. TikTok would disagree.
What's next on our list? I like this one. Let's talk about that.
It's true that I said, don't be a diva, but don't be a slouch either. I am so grateful that my husband tells me literally almost daily that I don't need to wear them. When I'm like, I gotta get my makeup on, it's like, you don't need it. And I appreciate that. But I don't ever want to become so comfortable that I quit trying for him like I did when we first got together. You know what I mean? Like, that's but I also have been in sweatpants for the past week.
You got a pretty good experience.
I had surgery, so I have been in sweats, but I love that he'll take me any which, and I have been all weights because I've had 3 kids together, and I have been up here and I have been very skinny. I've been all the weights, and he's loved me just the same, no matter what. So, but I never want to quit trying. That's even when I'm old.
Yeah, I even pull the pearl snap out every now and then.
Every now and again, and he keeps that mullet.
I put a little squirt of stuff on.
I know. I like the smell.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Small
As long as
batch
you don't
liver.
shave this.
Can't go. All right.
And I think the last thing that I would say is trust. And I know that that's not something that you can just, boom, you got it. But I think we've both been in relationships before where we did not have trust. And I can't even begin to describe how rewarding it is to know that, like, I truly believe that Jay could be standing in a room and, like, a woman could drop her clothes and come on to him, and I'm not saying she wouldn't be cute.
Like the Rip Wheeler scene.
Yeah.
And then
but,
you rock her world like that.
That's right, when she got the bottle and, like, let her have it. I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that. I'd think about it, though. No, but I truly believe he would be faithful. And I can't tell you how, I think a lot of that comes because we've learned to do all of these things that we've talked about today together. And it creates that kind of trust and that kind of bond. And
no, for sure.
that's worth waiting for, ladies. Don't marry somebody that you can't trust.
It's true. And guys, when I joined eHarmony, again, that ranks right up there with the C word for guys.
Counselor, in case you're just tuning in.
Yeah. Not something I ever envisioned, ever thought I would do.
We were cute. We were both dating plenty.
We didn't have a problem finding a date.
No, it was finding a good one.
Somebody that was my person. So I sat on the couch one night in a horse barn in East
And
Texas.
he made sure to post a picture of him on a horse in like a tank top with his like muscle flexing, riding across a river on the horse.
It was a good picture.
And I was like, I'll have him, thanks.
Yeah.
Felt like I was shopping.
The
old Sears catalog.
That's right.
You were saying, I'm sorry.
You lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry.
No, but the point of it all was I had to do something different. They say if you always do what you always done, we always get what you always got.
The definition of insanity.
Yeah, obviously what I was doing wasn't working for me. Was it necessary? Some of it, yes, probably. Like I said, I'd be on the electric fence 3 times. But
15 times.
at the end of the day, it's I would take some of it back. You know, I probably hurt some people along the way, but that's the only part I would take back. At the end of it, it led me to you. So I had to make a decision to do something different. And for guys, I talked about it earlier, pride gets in the way a lot of times. Pastor Andy talks all the time about pride being a sin. It is. I struggle with that one because I think, like, pride in my country, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But self-pride, I think,
Yeah, there's 2
is
different kinds of
different.
pride. There's different. Yeah. And I think women on the opposite side, sometimes we like to be the victim. Like, I think we like to oh, he said this and it was hurtful. It may have been, but we also have to understand they speak a different language than we do. So once you kind of learn, like, hey, he said that badly, but his heart, I don't think he meant it. Like, I don't know, when you start giving your spouse the benefit of the doubt rather than just assuming they're out to get you all the time, man, I feel like that can like change.
No, for sure.
It changes the everything.
And
you just don't get offended so easily.
Since we don't have a way with words, in the words of Cody Johnson, don't tell her everything you're thinking. No, we talked about being truthful, but there's just some things that don't need to be said.
Yep.
Especially when we're somewhat heated, and we know.
Oh yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
spend any time with somebody, if you're married to somebody, you know their triggers. You know what's gonna set them off. It's not worth putting gas on the fire.
Oh, and we used to.
Ooh,
Oh, there's your button.
Push it.
That one? Does
Yeah.
that hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did. Oh, we were bad.
You did.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We were bad.
Before we end this, I think we should talk about this last topic here because it's one that really people struggle with in terms of church, struggle with in a lot of different ways. So why don't you go ahead and introduce that one?
So How do you feel about splitting money in marriage?
Yeah, I've seen it done both ways, and to be honest, like I talked about earlier, when you enter into marriage, you go all in. And in fact, it's not like 100%; it's like 150%. And
it's kind of like moving away.
Absolutely.
There's no way to come back easily if it's all
exactly
intertwined.
And it hits on literally every single topic that we talked about in here: trust, don't quit, all the things. You're a team. The team can't work together if finances are separate. That's such a huge piece. Money is not the problem that we deal with in society today. It's the love of it.
Yeah.
We make sure and put it so many pegs down. Is maybe almost.
Well, I think our accountant hates us because we don't. I mean, we have to have the money to stay afloat, but it's just not priority for us. So.
But there's always just enough.
There's always just enough. There's always enough.
Yep.
God always takes care of us.
So I would say that, and honestly, I think premarital counseling or marital counseling, they'll talk about things like that too. If you start out with 2 checkbooks, you're starting out with one piece of division right there between you. And I can't think of a reason why that would benefit anybody. You are a team. You're 100% together. You need to be 100% together, all in. And I think just like putting it together and making sure you give that first 10% to him, it's giving that trust. That's powerful, and it's building. And I think in our experience, I can tell you, you'll be blessed by it. So,
and always keep Jesus at the center is probably the biggest. It is the biggest because it kind of is where all the other stuff stems from. So for us, that's always key.
Right. And
we pray about all the things. Anyway, so we are absolutely by no means experts. We are learning as we go. We'll fight sometime this week, I promise. But I promise that we love each other a whole lot more than times that we don't like each other very much. So, anything you want to add?
Don't quit.
Don't quit. Don't quit. Get help. Surround yourself with like-minded people with the same goals that want their marriages to succeed too.
And give it to him in the good times as much as the bad.
Absolutely.
And what's Pastor Randy say? If you do that, you won't have near as many bad times.
That's right.
That's true.
That's so true.
All
so
right.
we love you guys.
Love y'all. Thanks for being the best part of what we do. We'll see you next week.